Hello, and welcome to Foundations for Algebra, Unit 4B, Lesson 1, our final unit of the year. The objective today is scholars will understand and use rational exponents to represent roots. So, first thing you do, what does that mean? Remember, you should be looking at your notes while you're doing this. So, first, what are rational exponents? What do I mean by that? We've dealt with exponents, something like 2 to the 5th power before. But what we're talking about are rational exponents. So these are fractional exponents. So you'll notice here, the nth root, remember normally we see square root, but we can put a number here like a 3 to make a cube root. The nth root of b is just any number, is b to the 1 over n. So basically, when we have a fraction as our exponent, that bottom number, the denominator, is the root of it. So how else can rational exponents be written? So rational exponents can also be written in what's called radical form. That's the one with that little check mark symbol that we use. So remember, the denominator, that's the bottom number of the fractional exponent, is the root. So 9 to the 1/2 is the square root of 9. Which we all know is 3 or negative 3. And the cube root, remember we have that little 3 of 16, is the same thing as 16 to the 1/3. That was a little bigger. I probably made that. Let's try it this way. 1 over 3. Okay? So that bottom number is just what the root is. What about when the numerator is not 1? So the other ones, I always had the numerator as 1. The numerators, remember, the numerator is the top number of your fraction. So if we have something like this, 9 to the 3 over 2, that is the square root of 9. The square root of 9 cubed. So the top number becomes the exponent, and the bottom number becomes the root. So the square root of 9, I know, is 3. So this would be 3 cubed. 3 to the 3rd power is 27. So 9 to the 3 over 2 is just the square root of 9 cubed. Square root of 9 is 3. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Well, what about if we have here the cube root of 8 squared is the same thing as 8 to the 2 over 3. This tells us that it was originally squared. That's right here. And then this bottom number tells me that it is the cube root. Well, the cube root of 8 is just 2, because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And then if we square that, so that would be 2 squared, which is just 4. Okay, so now let's talk about this. Why do rational exponents work? So if you think about it this way, we've talked about the rule, when I raise a power to a power, I multiply. So if I had x to the 1/2 times 2, I would do 2 times 1/2, which would give me 1. Therefore, it must be, if I have something that's 2 to the 1/2, which is the square root squared, they oppose each other, you get back to 16. That's why it works. Here, if I had 8 to the 2/3, so I would do 2/3 times 3, which would give me 2. That would be 8 squared. So it works because of our rules for raising powers to powers. Okay? Okay, so now let's talk about how we can evaluate. Evaluate just means tell the value of. Remember, tell the value of. So let's look at evaluating each of these expressions. This first one, I have 25 to the 3 over 2. So that means the square root of 25 cubed. So the square root of 25, we all know, is 5. So I have 5 cubed. 5 times 5 times 5 is just 125. So let's go to the next one. It's 27 to the 2/3. So 2/3 means I'm taking the cube root of 27, and then I am squaring it. Well, the cube root of 27 is 3. 3, because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. 3 squared is just 9. And if I have 4 to the 5/2, that is the square root of 4 to the 5th power. Well, the square root of 4 is 2 to the 5th power. That is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Well, 2 times 2. Sorry, let me write that down. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. And this 2 is 4 times 4 is 16. Times 2 gives me 32. Okay, not too bad to find the value of. What if I want to rewrite our rational exponent as a radical? Okay, so sometimes you're going to be asked to do this, rewrite them. So 25 to the 1/2, the 1/2 just means it's the square root of 25. And that's all I'm being asked to do is rewrite it with that square root symbol. So 8 to the 2/3. Pause the video and see if you can do these on your own real quick, and then we'll check it. 8 to the 2/3 means the cube root of 8 squared. It doesn't matter if you have 8 squared inside or if the squared's on the outside. Next one, 64 to the 2/3 power means the cube root of 64 squared. And finally, 125 to the 1/3 just means the cube root of 125. Not too bad. And you can go the opposite way as well, of course, writing them as fractions. Okay, so go ahead and do your classwork, and I will see you in class.